Have you ever wondered about the origins of diseases that remain neglected in our world today? The history of these unseen ailments, known as neglected tropical diseases or NTDs, is as intriguing as it is disheartening. Let's journey back to our early human ancestors, who, while exploring uncharted territories, came into contact with these parasites. These encounters resulted in diseases that have since haunted humanity. However, these diseases were not recognized as significant health threats until centuries later. The term neglected tropical diseases was coined in the early 21st century, a testament to how these diseases were ignored for so long. These diseases have long existed in the shadow of more well-known conditions like malaria and HIV/AIDS. Their history is deeply intertwined with the regions they affect the most: impoverished areas with limited access to clean water, adequate sanitation, and necessary health care. These are the areas where NTDs thrive, silently wreaking havoc on the lives of the most vulnerable. Despite the heavy toll they exact, NTDs are still largely overlooked by the global health community. This neglect is reflected in the lack of funding and research dedicated to combating them. They are the diseases of the poor, the marginalized, those living on the fringes of society, and as such, they remain hidden from the world's view, their devastating impact unseen and unaddressed. But why are these diseases so neglected? One reason is the misconception that NTDs are not fatal. While it's true that they rarely result in death, they do cause severe physical and cognitive impairments, trapping their victims in a cycle of poverty and disease. Another reason is the lack of awareness and understanding about NTDs. Many are unfamiliar with these diseases, their symptoms, and their long-term effects. This lack of knowledge contributes to the stigma surrounding NTDs, further isolating those affected. As we delve into the world of NTDs, we uncover a harsh reality that is often ignored. In the chapters to follow, we will shed light on these invisible enemies, their silent suffering, and the battle against the unseen. Together, we can make the unseen seen, and the neglected acknowledged. Let's embark on this journey together, shall we? But what exactly are these neglected tropical diseases, you may ask? Well, let's delve into the world of these invisible enemies. Neglected tropical diseases, or NTDs, are a collection of infectious diseases that typically thrive in tropical and subtropical areas. They've been aptly named neglected as they've been largely overlooked by the global health community, even though they affect over 1 billion people worldwide. NTDs are caused by a variety of pathogens including viruses, bacteria, and parasites. Today, we're focusing on the parasitic NTDs, diseases caused by creatures that you wouldn't want to meet in your worst nightmares. Parasites are organisms that live off other organisms known as hosts to survive. In the case of NTDs, these hosts are often humans. Some of these parasites are microscopic, while others can grow to terrifying sizes. Take, for instance, the guinea worm, a parasite that can grow up to 3 feet long inside a human's body. Yes, you heard that right, 3 feet long. Parasitic NTDs come in all shapes and sizes. There are the soil-transmitted helminths, or worms, which include hookworms, roundworms, and whipworms. Then we have the protozoan parasites like those causing Chagas disease and leishmaniasis. And let's not forget the blood flukes causing schistosomiasis, and the filarial worms causing elephantiasis and river blindness. These parasites have complex life cycles, often involving multiple hosts and stages of development. Take the schistosoma parasite for instance. It starts as an egg in fresh water, hatches into a free-swimming larva, infects a snail, and then re-emerges to infect humans. The fact that these parasites can adapt and survive in such varied environments and hosts is truly a testament to their resilience. It also makes them incredibly difficult to combat. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, causing widespread suffering and devastation. The complexity of these parasites and the diseases they cause is truly alarming. And as we move forward, it's crucial to remember that these invisible enemies are not invincible. It's up to us to shed light on these neglected diseases and fight back. Now, let's imagine the horror of living with one of these diseases. What are the symptoms and consequences? Picture, if you will, a world where every step sends a jolt of pain through your body, where your skin is marred by unsightly lesions, where your vision blurs and dims until you're engulfed in darkness. This is the reality for millions suffering from neglected tropical diseases, or NTDs. NTDs manifest in a myriad of horrifying ways. Depending on the parasite, symptoms can range from mild to severe. Some victims might experience abdominal pain, nausea, and fatigue. Others might suffer from skin ulcers, neurological disorders, or even blindness. It's as if these diseases are designed to attack every facet of human health, leaving no system unscathed. But the suffering doesn't stop at physical symptoms. NTDs can lead to long-term health consequences that ripple out, affecting every aspect of a person's life. Imagine a child too sick to go to school, their potential stunted by a disease they didn't ask for. Consider a farmer, their strength sapped by illness, struggling to grow enough food to feed their family. This is the silent suffering caused by NTDs, and the impact extends beyond the individual. NTDs trap communities in cycles of poverty and disease. Without adequate healthcare, these diseases spread unchecked, affecting generation after generation. It's a tragic domino effect, where the fall of one leads to the downfall of many. Economically, the burden of NTDs is staggering. The cost of treatment, lost productivity, and the social stigma associated with these diseases can push families into financial ruin. It's a heavy price to pay for something as fundamental as health. It's not just the physical pain that torments those afflicted with NTDs, it's the isolation, the stigma, the unending cycle of poverty and disease. It's the knowledge that their suffering could have been prevented, that their lives could have been different. That's the real horror of NTDs. The suffering caused by these diseases is immense, often leading to a diminished quality of life and even death. So, as we delve deeper into the world of NTDs, remember the silent suffering, remember the unseen victims, and remember the battles fought against this invisible enemy. So how can we fight against these unseen enemies? How can we prevent and cure these diseases? The battle against neglected tropical diseases, or NTDs, is a complex one, but not one we are powerless against. The first line of defense is prevention, and in this context, it implies a broad range of measures. These can include everything from improving sanitation and access to clean water, to providing protective clothing and promoting its use in areas where these diseases are prevalent. On an individual level, understanding the risk factors and taking appropriate measures can significantly reduce the risk of contracting these diseases. This could mean using insect repellent or sleeping under a mosquito net in areas where vector-borne diseases are common. But prevention alone isn't enough. We also need effective treatments. Thankfully, many NTDs can be treated with existing medications, some of which are surprisingly affordable. For instance, a handful of NTDs can be treated for less than $1 per person. The challenge, however, lies in getting these treatments to the people who need them the most, those in remote and under-resourced communities. This is where public health interventions come into play. Mass drug administration programs where entire communities are treated at once have proven effective in controlling several NTDs. These programs rely on strong international cooperation and funding, as well as robust health systems in the affected countries. Research also plays a pivotal role in this battle. Scientists around the world are working tirelessly to develop better diagnostics, treatments, and vaccines for these diseases. And while progress may sometimes seem slow, every breakthrough brings us a step closer to a world free of NTDs. But the fight against NTDs isn't just about medicine and science. It's also about addressing the social and economic factors that allow these diseases to thrive. This means tackling poverty, improving education, and promoting gender equality. Remember, every one of us has a role to play in this battle. Whether it's spreading awareness, supporting research, or advocating for policies that tackle these diseases and the conditions that foster them. Prevention and treatment are our best weapons in this battle against the unseen. It's clear that more needs to be done to tackle NTDs, but what can you do to help? You see, the fight against neglected tropical diseases isn't just about medical intervention. It's also about raising awareness, supporting research, and advocating for better healthcare policies. The first step is education. Get to know more about these gruesome parasites. Read up on them, understand their impact, and then share this knowledge. Because the more we know, the better we can fight back. Next, consider supporting research. Many organizations are tirelessly working to develop new treatments and prevention strategies. Your support, whether financial or otherwise, can make a significant impact. And finally, use your voice. Advocate for improved healthcare policies, especially for those most vulnerable to these diseases. Pressure your representatives, make your voice heard. Because the fight against neglected tropical diseases is a fight that concerns us all, and it's a fight we can win. Remember, your voice can make a difference. As we conclude, it's important to remember that neglected tropical diseases, or NTDs, impact millions of people around the globe. These unseen enemies have a far-reaching effect, causing silent suffering that often goes unnoticed. We've uncovered the history of these diseases, delved into their symptoms and consequences, and explored the means to prevent and cure them. NTDs are not just diseases, they are a reflection of our global health system's inequities. They predominantly affect the world's poorest and most vulnerable populations, who often lack access to basic healthcare services. This makes NTDs not just a health problem but a social issue that requires our urgent attention. The fight against these invisible enemies is far from over, but with awareness, education, and collective action we can make a difference. We can bring these neglected diseases into the spotlight and work towards a healthier, more equitable world. Subscribe and share this video. Together, we can bring these neglected diseases into the spotlight. Help us make a difference.